Well, hello friends and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Today I am going to be taking you along as I transform my home into a bed and breakfast. So one of my lifelong very best friends is coming to stay with us. She lives in Alaska. She and her two children, who are 1 and 3, I believe, they're like in between the ages of my two girls who are 2 and 4. They are coming to crash with us for a few days. She grew up here in Georgia with me. We've been friends since we were like 8 years old. And it's just a really sweet friendship. It's really cool how the Lord has kind of crossed our paths back to one another over the years. There were some years where we weren't so close, and then like through college he brought us back, and it's just been really, really sweet to see how he has used our friendship to definitely bless my heart, and to hear her tell it to bless hers as well. So it's very cool. Her husband is military, so he had to go back from visiting family earlier than she and the kids, so they will be coming to stay with us while he heads back to Alaska for work. And I just cannot wait. If you saw my video on Christmastide, then you saw we got a couple of new couches, one of which is a sleeper couch, which will accommodate her sleeping situation, and then her children will be ideally, I think, sleeping in my youngest daughter Annie's room because it has a crib and a couple of fold-out kid couch beds. They might be traveling with a pack and play or something as well. I'm really not sure yet. And then I have a full-size and a twin-size bed in my oldest daughter Rosie's room, which I'm hoping both of my girls will crash on and be able to slumber together. If her daughter, who is 3, wants to sleep in there with them, I'm totally fine with it. I think that it will just be a few days of full-on fun and like so much girl power that my poor husband just thought he was outnumbered and he had no idea what was coming. She does have one little boy who's like 1, so maybe they can stick together and be each other's pals. But in the meantime, I am on my way to pick up a grocery order. I got some simple things to just, you know, for us to enjoy so that we don't have to get out of the house a whole lot while they are here. They're going to be here for 2 nights, I believe, and then they'll be gone visiting family for a couple nights, and then they'll come back for one more night before they fly back to Alaska. So we get them for a total of like 3 or 4-ish nights, not totally sure yet. Very much excited about it. They'll be with us over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, so there's just a lot of fun going into this week. I think it'll be jam-packed full of late night chats and kids squeals and catching up and heart-to-hearts and probably tears and laughter and hopefully good food. I got some yummy stuff I'm gonna make. I had some breakfast items. There's just a lot that we're getting into. I also still have a kid table, like my daughter's craft table is still stacked high with crafts and coloring books and puzzles and such that they got for Christmas. So I am going to take you along as well after we get groceries to go by a couple of thrift stores and hopefully find a good cabinet with doors to hide that mess. We will see. I don't want to rush into purchasing anything. I want to find something that will last and something that is affordable. So we'll see how all that goes. But for now, I need to get on the road before they put all of my groceries back because I've been working on videos all afternoon and it's like I have like 10 minutes to get there and get these picked up. So let's get on the road. Okay, so between this evening and the following day or so, I ended up going to like 4 different thrift stores and had 0 luck finding a cabinet. I recorded some things on my phone and then nothing was successful, so I was just like, I won't even put it in here. But just know that all of that was a bust. It usually goes that way, I think, when we're actually looking for something in particular, and I would rather it honestly be like that than me have found something that might have worked and just went with it because that was my only option. You know, this way either all the stores were closed that I tried to go to, or I just didn't see anything remotely close to what I was looking for. So it worked out one way or the other. Some of the groceries that I picked up were just very simple items. I wanted to be able to have quick, accessible, fairly healthy snacks on hand that the kids could just grab whenever they got hungry, and that kind of went as like simple and nice sides added on to each meal that I made. So these things included like yogurt, fruit, chips, frozen chicken breast patties. I like to do those for lunch whenever we just need something really simple. Lots of bacon, lots of sausage, eggs, very simple staple items that we could just throw together quickly, as well as some some meals that I went ahead and made ahead of time that I will talk about later on in this video. For now, I really want to touch base on hospitality and kind of what that looks like. I know that it can look different for many people, and especially depending on what season of life you're in. If you're like me and you have little kids, you know, just opening the doors to your home is kind of intimidating, because it's like our house is never picked up. Things are never in their place. Like, no matter how hard we try to put things away after we're done using them before we pull something else out, it's kind of just inevitable that there's going to be things all over the place. And, you know, that's just the season that we're in. So I try not to take that to heart too much. I try to show a little bit of grace to both myself and my kids, and just pray that whoever it is walking through my door will recognize that as well and extend the same grace to us. Because for me personally, it's always been that wherever I go, whoever's home I enter into, I mean, it's nice to have a good aesthetic and a nice inviting atmosphere. But for me, the biggest part of the equation that goes into an inviting atmosphere is the person that I'm being welcomed by, or, you know, the attitude of the home. Like, what is going on? Are kids running absolutely crazy, or is it just a total feral environment? Or is it something where, like, yeah, maybe they are having fun and being loud and rowdy, but the person that I'm coming to see, or the person welcoming me into that home, the home keeper, if you will, is very calm and just glad that we're there and ready to comfort us, make us feel like it's our own. And so that's kind of what I try to remind myself of as I'm preparing to host, whether it be for friends coming over just for a dinner, or, you know, a Bible study, or if it's like a play date or somebody coming to stay overnight for several nights, as was the case in this situation. You know, I was in a Bible study several years ago. It was a co-ed study, and we were going through this book called The Gospel is a House Key, I believe it's called. And it's all about how the gospel speaks so much through hospitality, and how we host and allow people into our lives through the doors of our homes. And I can't say, like, we didn't even finish that book in our Bible study because we just had so many conflicting thoughts and perspectives within our own group on kind of what that looks like. I mean, we had our Bible study in homes, and as you traveled from one home to the next each week, or every other week, however often we met, it was kind of astonishing how differently we all hosted. It was good, and I really enjoyed it because we all worked so well together as a group, and it was fun to kind of see the differences from one house to the next and like how people do things. But at the same time, it made it really hard to do that study, because some people in the group were like, if someone is in need of something, I absolutely will not put my focus on cleaning my bathroom. Like, I'm going to put my focus on making sure that there's a meal on the table when they get there. And then some people in the group were like, well, yeah, but I'm going to be frantically trying to do both, and then I'm going to be all stressed when they get there. And then some people were like, I'm just going to be there ready to receive them and hope that all the rest isn't going up in flames. And so it's a really, really unique thing to think about. And like I said, I think it just comes down to personality and each household and how they prefer things be done. For me personally, especially whenever I know ahead of time that people are coming, like well ahead of time, I've had several months to prepare for this. I'm going to make sure that my toilet is scrubbed, my bathtub is scrubbed, especially because we only have one bathroom, you know, like we're all going to be using that. I don't want it to be dirty. The baseboards in my bathroom, I want to pay attention to those, because I have been in some where there was just so much hair and gunk on the baseboards, and you see that when you're going to the restroom. So things like that I'm really, really sensitive to, and maybe a bit too detail oriented. But at the same time, if it was a situation where someone just needed a place to stay, like spur of the moment, if it was a cold night, or if they had a family emergency or whatever, they had nowhere else to go, those would not hinder me from allowing that person to come into my home. It was simply a matter of like, yes, I'm treating this as a bed and breakfast, and I want these people to come in and find a clean atmosphere. I think that's why on Airbnb or Vrbo or any of these other rental listing sites, they rate cleanliness. Like, that's an important aspect. Some people just cannot rest if a place is not clean. And I will never claim to have a perfectly clean home. There's always more cleaning that I can be doing. I'm always slightly mortified each time that I rearrange furniture because of the dust bunnies that just collect everywhere and in places that I never even thought to, remember or check. But at the end of the day, I don't ever want those things to stop me from being able to give someone a place to sleep or, a place to find rest and to find peace, to find a friend. So like I said, because I knew ahead of time that my friends were coming, I went ahead and prepped some meals. If I had a fully functional bed and breakfast, I would try to do this as well. But with that, I guess you're probably more often, you would hope, going to have people there every single day. I'm sure that there would be lulls where you could work ahead, but for the most part, this wouldn't really be practical for like an operational perspective. However, for me in this situation, it worked out perfectly because I was able to make ahead some pizza dough, and that made it really, really simple for us to have a quick lunch, which was not like frozen or picked up, didn't have to be like ran out and bought from a fast food chain or anything like that. Also, because we had so many kids and it was mostly me and my friend and all the kids, my husband worked a couple of the days that they were in town. And also, I didn't want him to feel obligated to like spend all of his time with us. I wanted him to be able to go and do. He would have loved for my friend's husband to be there because he absolutely, like, they love each other. They're very similar. They're like kindred spirits. Definitely cut from the same cloth, but because he didn't have him here, I did not want him to feel like he had to stick around for all of it. He was more than welcome to be there, but didn't want him to feel like it was absolutely required or necessary. So I went ahead and just made some stuff that we could have at home for truly nourishing and relaxed but organized mealtimes. Along with the pizza dough, I made some cinnamon sugar bread, and let me just tell you, this was fantastic. I usually don't make just loaf bread, but it was really, really good, and it was gone within like less than 2 days. I also made some burger patties ahead of time. I just went ahead and seasoned them and then, mashed up the patties and put them on a plate in the fridge covered by saran wrap so that we could just pull them out and throw them on the grill whenever it was time. Meal prep is usually not my thing in every day-to-day life. However, whenever it comes to things like this, and I knew that I was going to want to be fully present in a conversation of catching up and like hearing about someone else's heart that is so near and dear to my own heart, I really wanted to just be like have as minimal distractions as possible, and this allowed me so much freedom to just sit and catch up and to love on her and to be loved on by her, and then also just to like play with our kids and read them books and play kinetic sand. And there was just so many things that we were able to be available for because we did this ahead of time, and by we, I guess I mean me and my oldest daughter, Rosie. She helped me cook a lot of it, and it was just really fun. It was exciting getting to have that anticipation of our friends coming. She kept asking, are they going to be here yet? Are they going to be here yet? And I would tell her, like, no, we still have several more hours before they arrive. And at one point, she brought me her little leapfrog tablet and had the clock pulled up. And she said, I set a timer for when they're going to be here. And, she doesn't really know like how to tell time yet, but it was just really cute how excited she was to host. And she had never even, if she'd met these friends, it had been so long that she wouldn't have remembered. Like, it was at least 3 years ago, I believe. So it was really sweet watching her get so excited to host and to be a part of what was about to happen in our home. Okay, our friends came for their first few nights of stay with us, but they have actually traveled up north for a couple of days to visit some other friends, and then as they travel back down towards the airport, they're going to stop in again and stay 2 more nights with us. So they left yesterday morning. They'll come back tomorrow night. So we just took this morning slow, and me and the girls ate breakfast, and then we went to the thrift store, and lo and behold, as we were walking around, there it was for $25. It needed a good cleaning when we got home, but I'm not opposed to some elbow grease, especially for 25 bucks. So it's serving us very well so far. It's allowed me to put a lot of the clutter that was at our art table into the cabinet, and then also some of our messier crafts. I have a good bit still in one of the girls' closets, kind of out of reach until they request them. But these are things that, like, I don't have to know about ahead of time, but I do kind of like to, just so that I can be prepared in case there's some kind of mess that I need to be ready to clean quickly. So like Play-Doh or dot markers, things like that. Like I said, not like slime or paint or anything like that, but the slightly more messy things. So very much excited about that. I feel like it matches our furniture so well, and it's just been a good addition to our home so far. I have absolutely loved hosting these last few days. I know that most bed and breakfasts don't do like lunch and dinner as well, but me and the girls are so bad about just like grazing all morning long. Like we kind of snack here and there, or we'll sit down and eat maybe a bigger snack when we're hungry for breakfast and lunch. But in terms of actually like cooking a meal 3 times a day, I'm the world's worst, and I am not proud of that, but I just don't do a great job with it. And so having like a full house, like, you know, 4 kids and 3 adults these last couple days, it's been really nice actually having to get into the habit of doing that. But with that, I have also felt like I did nothing other than that. So by the time I finished like cooking, eating, and cleaning up one meal, it was time to start on the next one, you know. But it's really kept me from like being on my phone or being distracted or getting lazy. Like it keeps me active, and it keeps me organized, and it keeps everybody well fed, well nourished, and it's just fun to sit around the table and break bread with people. So I have really enjoyed it. Don't know if I'll ever actually have a bed and breakfast, but this has been a really fun trial run, and I think it just proves that you don't need a huge space. Like, not that we would actually make like our 1,000 square foot home, give or take, that we live in, a true bed and breakfast, like fully operational, but I do just love knowing that like I don't have to have a massive spacious like 3-story home or whatever it may be. Like everybody doesn't have to have a bedroom in order for people to feel welcome, in order for people to feel comfortable, and like they have a safe space to crash and to hopefully be encouraged, you know, for our kids to run and play, and you know, just for us to build one another up as we do life alongside of each other. So that's been really sweet, and kind of a nice reminder or realization from the Lord for me. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to them coming back for a couple more nights before they head back to Alaska, and I have just loved taking you along for this. I'm very much excited to see how our home continues to kind of feel like a bed and breakfast. I think it's just so cozy. It's continuing to grow into such a warm space, and something that like, if you would have told me 5 years ago that this would be my style now, this like cozy cottage and combination of patterns and mixing textures and all of these things, like I would not have really went for that, but here we are, and it just feels so cozy to me. I love it so much. It's so charming and just quaint, and it just feels like it hugs you a little bit. So I am so glad that you came along. I hope that maybe you've been encouraged to implement some of these same things in your home, and maybe you don't have anybody coming to stay. Maybe you just want something that feels like a cozy B&B for you and your family. And ultimately, that's what I'm most excited about. Like, a lot of this was stirred on by the fact that we had friends coming to stay, and I wanted them to all have a place to sleep. But at the end of the day, we're the ones that are going to be living here for the long haul. So it's really nice that we now have like couches that we can sit and watch football on, like we did last night. And the girls were just playing in their rooms together. And you know, earlier today we were sitting around our kitchen table playing cards, and like then we came over and we were doing stickers and coloring at the art center, and there's just all of these beautiful things that I feel like our house is now encouraging us to do, encouraging us to be together, encouraging us to make more memories and enjoy these sweet pastimes. Because like my granny said today, in just a few days those little girls will be all grown up and you can't get that back. So I am really loving this, and as something as worldly or material like as couches and cabinets and a home, it really can contribute to feeling like heaven on earth. You know, it creates that space, that sacred space for us to do life together in, to retreat back to after long days when we're weary, when seasons of life are hard. It gives us that place to call our own, and it gives us that place that we can count on for to be built up again. And I just love that so much. I think the Lord is so sweet in creating home, and I just thank him so much for making me a homemaker. Since I was in late college, had this desire on my heart, and I just am really living it out to the fullest. I just feel like I'm so lucky to be where I am, and so I just thank you for coming along today. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and I'll catch you next time. Bye guys.